So we were hit with a snow and ice storm this past weekend, as were most people in the Midwest and eastern part of the United States. And I was putting things together, and I was kind of restocking my, what I called a go bag or a bug out bag. I did a video last week, so if you want to go back one video and check that out, I talk about home preparedness, things that you should have at your house to be prepared for any type of natural disaster or some type of societal collapse. Really any event where you need to self-sustain for a period of time. This week, I want to touch on a bag, a go bag or a bug out bag, and why I have kind of transitioned more towards what I call a get home bag. Something that is used to sustain me and my family in the event that we're away from the house and something happens and we need to find our way back home again. So originally the idea of a bug out bag or a go bag is that something bad happens or some type of catastrophe and you need to leave your home, especially if you live in the city, live in an apartment, and something bad happens in the city. There's a mass power outage, there's riots, there's looters, whatever the case may be, but you need to leave. So you get your family, you grab your go bag or your bug out bag, and you hit the road. And in that bag, you have enough items to sustain you or your family, if you have other people with you, until you can get somewhere safe. Now, that idea still applies if you live in that scenario. You live in the city, an apartment or something like that. For someone like me who has a house and I live out in the country, I have a little bit of land, it really doesn't make sense anymore for me to have a bug out bag or a go bag, because in the event of something happening, I'm not going to leave my home. I have the highest chance of surviving staying at home, hunkering down with my family and riding out whatever event happens. Even if the power goes out, I have things in place that we can survive. So what makes more sense for me is having a get home bag. There was an event that happened a few years ago down towards the southern part of the United States, like down near Texas, where they got unprecedented amounts of snow and ice and cold temperatures, and power was out for weeks at that time. And they actually found people dead in their homes because they froze to death. People just were ill prepared. They weren't expecting that. So the idea, and there were also people that were stranded on the highways because there was gridlock. People were sitting in their cars on the highway for a very long period of time. They were running out of gas and they were freezing on the highway. So my idea of a get home bag is if we were ever caught in that scenario where we're away from the home, we're out somewhere and something bad happens and we need to get back home again. Maybe the car breaks down, maybe we're stuck in gridlock traffic and we run out of gas or whatever the situation is, but we're not able to get home, then that's where the bag would come into play. But I thought, because of what happened this weekend, the snow and the ice, it kind of got me thinking, and it reminded me to kind of check up on my own get home bag and prepare it. I thought I would do a video and go over what I have and maybe help you guys in the process of getting your bag set up. All right, so it's freezing cold out here. It's about 20 degrees. So I'm gonna try to do this as quickly as possible. I'm gonna go ahead and take the things out of my bag and show you what I have in here. Okay, first of all, the bag. You wanna make sure that you have a very sturdy, very strong bag and something that's gonna last adverse conditions. You also wanna make sure that it's big enough to contain the supplies that you need. So this bag in particular is a 30-liter backpack. I think it's kind of a good size between having plenty of space to have everything that I need in it, but also not being some giant like rucksack that's gonna look very out of place if we're somewhere in the city and I grab this and go. I want it to kind of be somewhat inconspicuous. This bag is made by Torch EDC. They have a whole line of different backpacks, sling bags, med kits, things like that. So I encourage you to go check them out, torchedc.com. If you use my discount code Overland10, you can get 10% off this bag or any of the other products. So you can either go to the link down below, torchedc.com/overlanding creation, or like I said, just go to their website and use the discount code Overland10 and it'll get you 10% off. So first of all, on the outside, I have a bottle of water. Very important. You know, go back to my last video and I go over the 5 key important components to any type of survival kit. One of them was definitely water, so you need to have hydration. I have a water bottle on the outside. It's really nice, just tucks into the water pocket here. On this side over here, you could put another bottle of water, but I have a little spool of string. There's a lot of string here. I don't know how much, but pretty good amount. This can be very handy for building shelter, strapping things down. A lot of uses that can have. Okay, front here, I just have some gloves on the front there. You don't look at my gloves off here, it's gonna make this difficult. All right, so in this front compartment here, I have some hot hands. These things are absolutely great. I use them all the time when I'm working outside, but this is a very quick and easy source of heat. Something I thought about if we break down on the side of the highway, or like the situation in Texas a few years back where the highway's gridlocked, you can't go anywhere and you run out of gas in the car. You warm up a couple of these and they will actually create ambient heat inside the car. You have an insulated vehicle, and just something like this can actually warm that environment by several degrees. So hot hands, great thing to have. Here I have a pack of fire starter. This one's actually already open because I used some of it, but some type of fire starter could be beneficial if you need to start a fire. Let's see here, what else do I have in here? Some more hot hands. And that's it for the front. Okay, moving on to the next compartment here. This one, I have a life straw. Again, water, hydration, very important. Not only do I have the bottle of water, I actually have some more water in the main compartment, but something like a life straw or some iodine tablets, some way to purify water. Something like a life straw is very convenient. You can drink pretty much anywhere. It's simple. It's not great for purifying large amounts of water, but again, the idea of this is a short period of time. You're just trying to get home. You're just trying to get to a safe environment that gives you access to drinking water, no matter where you're at, a pond, stream, whatnot. All right, otherwise I have some wipes. Pretty self-explanatory. Keep your hands clean. Wipe off, utensils, plates if you get to eat, whatever. I have some chem lights. These are 12-hour chem lights. They last quite a bit longer than 12 hours. I don't know exactly how long they lasted, but I cracked a few, and at the 12-hour mark, they were still bright, and they were bright for several hours longer than that. But at any rate, get some good quality chem lights. These are going to put off a lot of light. You can use them for road flares. If you break down the side of the road, throw a couple of these out. Or if you need some light, they make for a great option. They don't run on batteries or anything, so very quick and easy. Otherwise in here, I have a multi-tool, something, pliers, knife, a little bit of little saw blade, different things like that. And let's see, what else do I have in here? I have my ferro rods. Some ferro rods, some wax rope. If you've seen some of my other videos, these are great for making fires. I've created several fires with these on the channel, so if you want to check that out, look back over a few other videos that I did, some overnight, some camping videos, you can check that out. I recommend having multiple sources of fire starting. So I have a lighter in the kit. I think I also have some matches maybe, and then ferro rod. It's good to have at least 2 sources of fire. This kind of ties into some self-protection here. This is a very small 380 ACP. This is obviously not an ideal self-defense weapon. Ideally, I would be carrying my primary weapon. If you have access to some sort of rifle, that's going to be even better. But I wanted something that's very small, very compact, that I can keep in the bag. That worst case scenario, I don't have anything else with me. I know there's going to be something in the backpack. So I had this little 380, and then in this little pill bottle, I have, I think, like 10 more rounds. So again, not really going crazy with it, but just something that's going to give me some form of protection in an emergency situation. And then I also have my fixed blade knife. I showed this in one of my other videos as well. This is a Camillus little survival knife. Actually has a ferro rod in the blade here. That's another way of starting fire. And I actually did a giveaway, and I do want to apologize to my subscribers because I did a giveaway of one of these knives several videos back. It's been so crazy, I haven't had a chance to get around to announce that winner. I have drawn, And I do have the winner, so I will go ahead and put the winner of the Camilla survival knife down in the description of this video, and I will also do a pinned comment down below as well. So if you are the winner of this, please respond to that pinned comment, and I'll go ahead and get that survival knife sent out to you. Again, I apologize that it's taken me so long to do that giveaway. And moving right along to the big compartment, I need to speed this up. It's freezing cold out here. My fingers are getting a little stiff. So on to the main compartment here. First thing on top, I have my poncho. This is like a military style poncho. I really highly recommend these because they not only work as a poncho, obviously, keep the rain off you, keep you dry, but they make a great shelter option. Obviously, carrying a tent with me is not realistic. So having something like a poncho, it's small, you can fit it in your backpack, and there's a lot of ways to make a shelter with this poncho. So highly recommend having some sort of poncho with you. Now, I have some diapers. Like I said, you know, everyone's get home bag or go bag is going to look a little bit different. For me, I got some diapers for me. I have a small child. Anyone that has, you know, small children knows that, listen, if that child has a full diaper, you're going to need to get them cleaned up and changed. And this is something that's just very real world. You know, we like to kind of have this fantasy idea of out there, you know, on our own, surviving the elements and whatnot, and things like diapers you might think as like being a luxury, but the reality is, in a situation where I'm with my family and this is all we got, those diapers are going to really come in handy. So obviously as my children grow, that'll change over time, but like I said, adapt this to your personal needs and your family's needs, and make sure you have what you need in your bag. If you have a child that has asthma and they need their inhaler, or you have a child that has some other health needs, or you yourself or a spouse or something, if you're diabetic, whatever the case may be, just tailor this to your needs and make sure that for let's say a 72-hour period of time, if there's any medication that you use or someone in your family uses or needs, or some type of personal requirements you have, make sure you pack enough in your bag to at least get you by a few days. Otherwise, I have a little camp stove. You may have seen this in a previous video as well. Now, obviously, this takes up a lot of space in the backpack. Could I get by without it? Yes. However, I have room for it, so I'm using it. Just a bottle of butane here and a very basic little burner that I can use to boil water or cook some food with. As far as food, that was another one of my 5 key elements. In here, I have 2 MREs. Those of you that have used MREs before, either in the military or otherwise, know that these are a great food ration option. They have a heating heating bag inside that you can actually have a hot meal. They also have some electrolyte drink. Every MRE has a pack of matches, which is another fire starting option. Just, look into some MREs. I highly recommend them. It's a completely sealed meal unit and they last a long time. So that's what I went with. I have 2 of those. Again, if it was just me, I would probably just run 1. However, I have a family, so 1 isn't going to get us very far. So I have 2 MREs that would hopefully, if we ration them out, could last us a couple days. Other than that, I have a roll of duct tape. You know, this can be used for so many different things, but one of the things that I like to keep it in my bag for is fire starting and a good fuel source. You may not know this, but duct tape actually burns really well, and it will burn for a good amount of time. So you take some duct tape, you tear it up, you create a ball, and you light it, and it'll actually burn for several minutes. So it's another great way to start a fire, keep a fire going. And, you know, other than that, there's a million other things you can use it for. I have some stakes for shelter purposes. I have a large bottle of water. Now, it's very important, not only do I have some water on board, but then I have this metal container. It is full of water, but the idea is that it allows me to refill it. I can boil it to sanitize water, or if I have access to clean water, I can refill it and I can take it with me, and it allows me to refill and carry water on board. So some form of container that you can carry water, I think, is very important. And lastly, I believe this is the last item. Yes, it is. Lastly, very important, a first aid kit. You know, most first aid kits are going to be okay. Just make sure you have essentials in it. I recommend having a tourniquet. You don't need to go crazy with like combat medic supplies, but a basic tourniquet I think is very important. And then otherwise, you know, things that you and your family are gonna need. I have a lot of Band-Aids in here. There's a lot of survivalists that, you know, kind of like to hate on first aid kits with Band-Aids in them. But the reality is, if you have a family or even yourself, you get cut, you get scraped up, you're probably going to use Band-Aids more than anything else. So have some Band-Aids. I have some sanitizing wipes, some gauze, and I have some basic medication. There's ibuprofen, Tylenol. There is some Dramamine. What else do I have? An aspirin. Aspirin's a blood thinner. There's a lot of purposes that can be used for. So I have some basic medication. Something that doesn't hurt to have is some antibiotics. Now, it might be hard to get a hold of some of those, but if you have some extra antibiotics, it's good to have some of those on in your kit as well. I have another lighter here. Again, that's another source of heat. And then ice pack, gloves. You know, I don't need to go through the whole bag, but get a good first aid kit that kind of covers all the bases, and then add to it. You know, like I said, I added the lighter in there. I added the Tylenol, the Advil, and the aspirin. I think I added the Dramamine. I added the tourniquet. So kind of tailor it to your needs. Another thing I forgot about in this front compartment here, real quick, was, where did I have it? Oh, I have it in here. I believe so. Yes, okay. A little bit of cash. So I have a little baggie. I think I have like $100 in here, something like that. Keep a little cash on you. Because again, you don't know the situation. If you run out of gas, you need to buy some more gas, or you need to buy some food, whatever the situation is. I think having a little bit of cash on hand is always wise. You may not be able to use your debit and credit cards. The bank, you know, if the power's out, the banks are closed, whatever. Having a little bit of cash would definitely help you out. All right, before I freeze out here, that's going to be it for today, guys. I appreciate you watching the video. As always, please subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content. I do other gun-related and survival content, so please subscribe. Tune in for future videos. Like the video, comment down below. Let me know, do you have a bug out, get home go bag? What do you have in that bag? Is there anything that I don't have in mind that you recommend that I adding in there? Let me know. Again, if you want to get yourself a good backpack to use as a go bag or get home bag, I recommend Torch EDC. Use my discount code Overland10 for 10% off, or check out the link down below. Otherwise, just make sure you have a good quality backpack that you can put your stuff in. All right, thanks again, guys, and I will catch you next week.